CS Farida Karoney is taking over from, of course, outgoing CS Jacob Kaimeni. The PS is the one addressing members of the press at the moment. Let's listen in.
To make those few remarks, first to say that I'm humbled that you create a good environment. People take for granted. I won't myself, because I know the difficulties can be, and also to wish all the best incoming cabinet secretary, and first of all to reassure her that working within the ministry or National Land Commission, in fact we are all friends, and we shall sustain it that way, because when we work together then we're able to deliver more. We have very able officers, technical officers. Given our backgrounds, we are not in lands, but we are learning land matters, and they have been able to help us learn the complexities of land, and we are able to deliver because they have been able to be there when we need them, and they provide the required counsel and leadership when they are required, when they are challenged to do so. So I want to reassure you that the ministry will support you deliver. I'm sure we'll achieve more than even the targets have been given by His Excellency, the President, and I'm sure we are going to have one of the most pleasant part of your life being our cabinet secretary. So for me, I reassure you of our support and loyalty, of course, and ensure that we shall go out of our way, myself, all the way, commissioners, and our technical officer, to ensure that you actually deliver on the mandate being given by His Excellency. Let me stop there and really invite our cabinet secretary to make a few remarks, and then later invite you. Karibu. Then before you invite the CS, you invite Mungaro. Yeah.
I think I need to move this, Amaniachi. Asante sana. The CS for Lands and Physical Planning, the Chief Administrative Secretary, Mheshimiwa Gideon Mungaro, the PS for Lands, the Chairman National Land Commission, all the commissioners of NLC were here, members of staff, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I wish to take this opportunity to congratulate the CS for appointment to this ministry, a ministry which is not easy to handle. We have discussed a few things with her, but I have no shred of doubt in my mind she is equal to the task. We are also lucky to have Mungaro, and I want to congratulate him for his appointment. A man whose heart has been very close when it comes to Mambaya land, particularly issues of land in the coast. And I was jokingly saying that he is now, he is inside here. We'll see how he handles land issues in the coast. That's an advantage to us, because you know them very well anyway. But this time you extend your tentacles to the entire nation. I think that's what you are saying. I also want to thank His Excellency the President, first for giving me an opportunity to serve this country in two key ministries: Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, and recently Ministry of Lands and Physical Planning. I consider this as a great honor, and it's not easy. During the period we have been able to serve this country with the wonderful people you see here, I believe, CS, we have done a lot in terms of reforming the sector, in terms of coming with policies that, if implemented to the letter, would transform this country in so far as land sector is concerned in a manner that every Kenyan will be very happy about. I also want to thank His Excellency for nominating me to be an ambassador and a permanent representative to UNESCO. Again, a great honor. This is an area that I've been for a long time, because I'll be looking at issues to do with education, science and culture at global level, particularly focusing on Kenyan interests. Kenyan interests. What are the Kenyan interests? So far those things are concerned. And because, yes, I'm not alien to these things, I believe will make a difference for the benefit of our people. I want to thank members of staff and the many who are here this morning. Others are not here, yes. Starting with our peers. It's not very often that you hear very kind words from your members of staff. But I think the peers made some very kind remarks about me, which undoubtedly will make me even want to do better wherever I'm going. So can you clap for him, please? It is true what the peers said about our members of staff. They are great men and women. Yes, very professional. Mungaro, welcome to this place. You heard what the peers said. Many people will want to come here. And I believe it is true. Of course, there are challenges. You have heard about cartels. I'm surprised some people keep on saying that, CS, we have been defeated in containing cartels, blood cartels. That is not true. It's a figment of people's imaginations. Because we have done our best and will continue to do our best as members of staff here to take care of cartels. And people, CS, have a tendency to focus on that which is negative and not of the positive things that others have done. We have done great things, and I'll be mentioning as we move on. I also want to thank the Chairman National Land Commission, Vice Chair National Land Commission, and all the commissioners who are here. Again, wonderful people, wonderful people. See, as we have been saying that we are conjoined at the hip. Conjoined at the hip. But some people don't seem to believe it, especially the ones in front of me here. Amazing. Give us credit where it is due. Before we came to this ministry, walikuwa na flex muscles. There was a lot of disquiet between the Ministry of Lands and National Land Commission. And I want to say that our good brother, Professor Sozuri, and his team have been very understanding. We have had very cordial relationship. There will always be challenges. But here's again, which institution in this world doesn't have any challenges? Challenges are there to be overcome by men and women who are prepared to work. And I think we'll do that. I was telling the CS that at some point, we went all the way to the Supreme Court. Yes, so that we can see how to resolve our differences. And I'm happy you have done that in a big way. We made sure that to us what matters is to apply the law to the letter. To do that which we must do as either institution, but finally, our business, biggest business is to serve Kenyans. I think that's the bottom line. So we're on track. With those many remarks, now allow me to read these handover notes. I won't take a long time because I know, Madam CS, you are familiar. As all of you ladies and gentlemen know, that land is the most important natural resource that this country or any other country is endowed with. And it's very critical to economic, social, political, and cultural development. Our vision, which I think you know, as a ministry, is to be a globally competitive organization in sustainable land management. Bottom line there, globally competitive. Can other countries come and benchmark what with us what we do because we are good? If the answer is yes, fantastic. And the objectives really of this ministry basically is to ensure accessibility, equity and sustainable management of land resource for socio-economic development. And the other very important objective is to strengthen the institutional capacity for efficient and effective service delivery. We have about 7 departments. I will just mention them. I will not read the functions of each, madam, because you can read that. We have administration and support services, fiscal planning. Sometimes people forget there's something called fiscal planning, CS. And when they talk about the ministry, they only remember land. Yet fiscal planning is very key. If you want to guarantee standards and quality of planning, particularly at the county level, we need to have a robust, very vibrant fiscal planning directorate. I think that's what we should do. And not only that, we are proposing, and the PS also knows this, to establish a state department of fiscal planning. Because we believe this is a very important department. We have land education and settlement, surveys, land education, land valuation, and land registration. In discharging our functions, we are guided by the executive order of number 1 of 2016. Again, I will not read all that. It's a matter that we know, the matters that we should be dealing with, particularly settlement of our people. I think CS, as you come in on board, together with the support of the National Land Commission, we should be able to map out where our squatters are, county by county, and endeavor to settle them. It's not easy. Since independence, of course, to have so many squatters here and there is not a cup of tea. We know it is very expensive, but it's something that we need to address as soon as possible. If we were to summarize general performance against targets, it is important to remind ourselves what the government promised the people of Kenya way back in 2013. And I will mention 1 or 2 things as we move on. One, the government in 2013 promised to give titles to our people. In fact, you are talking about our democracy being property-owning democracy. See, as I remember, we promised 13 million title deeds. By 2017, we had processed over 3.2 million title deeds, which was a great achievement. Why can't you clap for us, people? I keep on telling Kenyans appreciate that which is good. Yes, we need something like that. Because you can imagine if you in a place where you have been living for a long time and there is no title deed. You cannot build or develop that piece of land unless you are sure of its ownership. And you should have seen here how people felt when they got title deeds for the first time. Some shed tears. Others could not believe it because they thought title deeds are made up of metal. Because since independence, they have never seen them. We were able to give title deeds to all manner of communities, including the community, Akibra community, the Nubian community, including some other communities in Komeru. For many years, they didn't have title deeds. So that was something that will forever be grateful for the support of members of staff who are here. So what are the other achievements? I just want to mention them in passing so that we don't stick too long. Before we came to this ministry, the government had promised to reform land control boards, and therefore we dissolved them. We dissolved them. There was some resistance, and the reason why we dissolved them, CS, is we discovered that first and foremost, some of them had stayed as members for too long, over 9 years. And you know when that happens, mtu anamea mishishi mahali. Two, most land control boards were dominated by men. Very few women were there. Yet, we are talking about the 2000 rule and gender rule. Thirdly, most of the people there didn't have the professional background to serve those land control boards. But I'm happy that we have done exactly that. They are all in place, and we expect things to be better. When we came in, these people used to earn 500 shillings as sitting allowances. 500 bob. And somebody is meant to come maybe from far-flung areas. And we say this is too much. So we decided to increase that money 3 times. In fact, 5 times. 2,500 bob. So they must be very happy now. Sioni sawa? Makofi kwa wapi? And then we said we'll pay them transport allowances as per the government prevailing rates. So I think we should expect land boards to perform better, because in yesteryears they were forced, even sometimes, to do things they shouldn't do, and make certain requests to customers, requests which were illegal. But I'm happy that all is well now. The other thing we realized was that our people are quite poor. We need to charge such fees, 500 bob. Again, this government, great government, decided to waive such fees. So Kenyans must know that you don't have to pay such fees anymore, or 500 shillings. They might appear little money, but it's a lot of money. And we've done that. We are very happy about that as well. Again, apart from that, we have instituted key legal and policy reforms in this ministry. Chief among them is formulation of a national spatial plan. For the first time in the history of this country, it's one of the projects, if you will, of Vision 2030. As per that plan, we have planned all our resources under one roof, more, so to speak. If it is roads, if it is forests, if it is rivers, they are marked and they are known wherever they are. I think what remains to be done, CS, now is to implement the National Spatial Plan. The other thing we have achieved is that together with the National Land Commission, we have developed a national land use policy, which is meant to guide, provide legal, administrative, institutional, and technological framework for optimal utilization and productivity of land. In all the presidential summits we've been having, really, around table discussions, people have been craving and asking for national land use policy. So it is in place. My wish is that you get this launched in the next 1 week maybe, or less than a week, so that you can move on. It's a key document. Again, when we came to this ministry, we realized that the rules and regulations to operationalize the land laws were in place in 2014. But because of the wrangles, a little bit of fighting, we were not able to implement that time. So I got in touch with the Chairman of the National Land Commission and other commissioners, and we said we must reactivate this process. We did that. We set up a task force, and CS, I'm happy, very proud to tell you that through consultations, because that's what you were told by the Supreme Court, consultation, cooperation, and coordination. There were 3 C's, how we should work with the National Land Commission. Those 3 C's. Through that, we've been able to come up with rules and regulations. We signed them. There was public participation. And now they are before Parliament. We made parliamentary committee the other day, and I want to believe that they are going to pass this so that we don't have laws that are not operational because the rules and regulations are not there. But there are Kenyans who have an appetite for going to court, the likes of Mutata. There's nothing wrong with going to court, but go for a good reason, not to fulfill the needs, selfish whims of certain people. Because when you come up with such rules and people rush to court, so that you don't implement them, then you wonder whether these people live in Kenya or some other place. Because they too would want land to be managed in a better place, in a better way. But you see people again creating all manner of problems. The other thing I just wanted to mention that we have done, people think, as I said, we haven't made any steps to contain cartels here. I want to indicate that we have done it. I was sharing with you about when you introduce biometric access control card, is to make sure that those people come to this building, we know where they are going. A specific floor, not floors. In yesteryears, you could walk to any floor. Now you can't do that you know, which is good for us. And not only that, we invited Ethics and Corruption Commission to do a systems audit for this ministry. The report is before you. Wonderful report. I have no shred of doubt in my mind, if we implement that report, will transform this ministry in a manner that people can't believe it. So please again take it and run away with it. Both of you, I think you are ready for that, with the support of again the National Land Commission. Again, I'm very proud of what National Land Commission has done. For example, they have come up with regulations on historical land injustices, an issue that all of us fear, and yet we have no choice but to address it. So the rules are there. I think we should be able to move on and implement that. They have also come up with so many other things, even standards on land scale acquisition of land. Again, brilliant. So what is again pending, which I think you need to know? One, if you read the National Land Commission Act and also the National Land Policy, even the Constitution, we talk about use of alternative dispute resolution framework so that we can address the issues of land disputes. And CS, I'm happy that we have initiated that process. So Zuri is here and his team. We should be able to get that in due course. Because our people have been going to court so often. And you can be in court forever, for 7 years. But with this, we expect things to be more efficient and more effective. Something also which is in the pipeline, I think you need to know this. In our quest to be very relevant when it comes to implementation of those big four, we have initiated the process of establishing a land bank. We need a land bank yesterday. It hasn't been there. When we talk about these mega projects which you're about to begin, you need to be very clear in your mind whether we have land, whether it has any challenges, so that those of us who want to invest, as locals, as foreigners, we know where the land is. Right? Again, to be able to do this, before Parliament, there is something called National Land Value Index. This National Land Value Index is intended, CS, to make sure that we rein on speculators or people who buy land, particularly in those areas where the mega projects are being implemented. As you're aware, when people discover that the government has intentions of putting up a certain structure somewhere, speculators go and buy land there. They put up some temporary structures. The next thing you hear is the land value there is too high. And as per the law, we are supposed to compensate immediately once we acquire land. Because Zazuri and his team, you require a lot of money to do that. In billions. And it's not easy. So what have we learned and done? I said, this law, this bill will rein on that, so that there will be alternative methods of compensation. You can compensate somebody with an equivalent piece of land. You can use government boats. Yeah. So I'm happy that if we can do that, it would be wonderful. It will make a huge difference. Let me not talk so much because I have a lot of emotion on some of these things. Yes. There are other reforms ahead of us, including the laws that we have put in place for the short time we have been here, together with the National Land Commission. The Community Land Act, which came into force, it's not long time ago, last year but one, to be specific, 21st of September. And this act is very key. How do we manage community land? And I'm happy that we are going to be managed through the community land management committees, which you should be constituting in every county. I think there's something before you, which needs to be done quickly, so that we can manage community land better. It will not be easy to buy just to sell land or interfere with community land. It's going to be very tough. Very, very tough. That I can tell you. And it defines what community is. You know, some people think to belong to a community, you must belong to the same tribe, which is not true. If you are one geographical area, you belong to a community. I think that's important as well. Yeah. So again, that law is there, and I'm happy that it is there. Also, this Land Amendment Laws Act of 2016, also very important, because it's very clear on what a historical land injustice is. Yeah, from 1895 up to, is it 2010? Abigail? Yes, 2010. So we are talking about that period, 1895 up to 2010. You can imagine. It's a long period, right? They know those days people were given land by the former Muzungus who were in power. So we are saying if land was irinyakuliwa irregularly, it will be recovered. That's the point. It requires a lot of guts, and I think you have what it takes. You have the guts. It's not going to be easy, but let us do it for the sake of our posterity. Those are the days when an assistant chief was chief, and the powers to give land. Na kunyanganya land from some people and then give it to some other people. Really. Those were those days. But they're gone now, as for the new law. So, with those many remarks, once again, CS, I want to really sincerely congratulate you for coming to this ministry. Wonderful supporters. Mungaro, you are here also, baptism by fire. Hii kazi atawatafanya sana. Asanteni na Mungu abariki ninyi. And before, why can't you clap for me? Before I proceed, before I invite the incoming CS to make a remarks, my good brother Wana Mungaro is to make his remarks, please. Yeah. Maybe you can come here. Come. Hakuna shida, mimi nitakuwa come where you are. I told Farida this is what she's used to. There's no problem. Good morning, everybody. I think first of all, let me take this opportunity to thank His Excellency the President for giving me this opportunity to serve in this ministry. And also congratulate Mheshimiwa Farida Karoney for being appointed the CS in this ministry. I have interacted with many of you before in my previous assignment. I've worked with the National Land Commission, the minister here, and some of you. And I'm here basically to work with the CS to make sure that we achieve the Jubilee agenda. We have a program on what the CS Kaimeni have said. Now I will not be passionate only for coast land issues. I will help the minister to make sure that we deal with all the issues in Kenya with your support. We are really looking forward to work with everybody here closely to achieve that agenda. And I'm sure the minister will give you a more elaborate program which we have to make sure that this ministry does not only deliver but has a new face to the public, because sometimes when you sit out there, the picture you have of Minister of Land is what the CS was saying earlier. People believe on that this is a place of only cartels and willy dealing, and we want to change this and make sure that we really deliver services to our people. And you know that the biggest agenda of the Jubilee government and the President's agenda of the Big Four, everything basically ends up the land. If it's housing, if it's manufacturing, if it's even health, you have to build hospitals, isn't it? You have to build them somewhere. So I'm sure we'll support you, Waziri, to make sure that we achieve all what is good for our people of this country. I won't say much because Waziri is here. You know me, I'm here to make sure that I support her. So let her today take this opportunity to brief you what is the plan of this ministry, and I'm sure looking forward to interact with all of you and work together to achieve the agenda of the Jubilee government. Asanteni sana.
You can just move the mics.
These gadgets.
I'm used to them.
Yeah, these gadgets.
Although they should be doing it for themselves, but let me help them. Okay. All right. Outgoing CS, CAS, PS, the chairman of the commission with their commissioners, staff of the ministry, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's still morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
I want to take this opportunity first to thank the President for giving me this opportunity to serve. I am under no illusion that the task ahead is going to be challenging, but I know that in this ministry I have competent staff. I have staff who have worked with this ministry to deliver service to the people. So I'm not worried at all about the challenge at all ahead, because I know in you, the team behind me, we shall deliver the results that are expected of us. We have been given this honor to serve the people of Kenya, and I'm hoping to work with you to give you the enabling environment. As CS Kaimeni said, my role is really to provide the environment so that you can continue doing what you do best. I am a facilitator, so don't look at me and say, Now she's come to do my work. No, I've not come to do anybody's work. I have come to provide the environment necessary for all of us to be able to deliver service to the people of Kenya. Chairman, Land Commission, we are going to work together because our roles are complementary. We are not going to work in competition because that is not why we are here. We are supposed to put our collective resources together, our collective energies, so that we make the services of this ministry accessible to the public. Our primary responsibility is to the Kenyan public, so anything else is secondary. You and I and your teams and our teams must work together. I have been briefed by the outgoing CS, and I know that a lot of progress has been made. I am not coming to reinvent the wheel. I'm only coming to support what has been done, to build the capacity, to enhance where I can, maybe bring on board a few new skills, but by and large, the agenda of government is very clear. The targets of the ministry are clear. I am not going to operate outside of that scope. We have our constitution to guide us. We have the relevant laws. So should there be doubt, we shall always fall back on the legal framework that has been provided, and I have no doubt that we shall succeed. I want to assure everybody, the staff, the commission, that this ministry will work towards achieving what we are supposed to do, whatever it takes. If we have to sleep in the office, we shall sleep in the office. If we have to burn meat, we shall do it. Because our primary responsibility really is to the Kenyan public. We know the issues of land are very emotive. Kenyans are very emotional about land. And we need to support them. We need to help them to understand that we need to use land much more than for sentimental value. We need to give them the security of tenure so that they can use land for production, so that they can use land to create jobs. So we will work together, communicate better. I believe a lot of work has been done by CS Kaimeni and the team in the ministry, but maybe we didn't do very well in communicating these successes. So with my background, I hope to support all of you and all of us so that we communicate our programs better. If I step on the shoes of Chairman Swazuri, it shouldn't be blown out of proportion. In any place where there are two human beings, even with your own wife, your husband, your brother and sister, there will be conflict. It's normal. We are not expecting that it will be a bed of roses all through. It can't be, because we are all human. We come to this job with our different perspectives of issues, so we shall collide at times. But this collusion should not be to the detriment of service. We will find a way to maneuver. I've been briefed by the CS. I think on most of the issues we agree. There are only 1, 2, 3, 4 issues which we don't agree. Surely we shouldn't expend all our energies fighting over 4 issues. Even 50 of them we have agreement. So I'm not worried at all about the way forward. I know there are doomsday stories about cartels in the Ministry of Lands. I know there are stories about resistance by staff. I don't believe it. I think that if we have the right system, we shall do what we have to do. I think that if our staff know that first and foremost, the person they have to serve is the ordinary Kenyan, everything else will be secondary. If we obey the law, if we obey our constitution, we should be able to navigate whatever challenges there may be. If there are issues of injustices, historical land injustices, the Land Commission is here. So Suri and his team will help us navigate. I've been shown the new regulations. I'm hoping we can work together to push them forward so that we set the framework, really. We must be solutions oriented. We must not be so afraid of the challenges that we become paranoid. We shouldn't be paranoid. Because if we are paranoid, then we will be running around in a circle. Yet the President expects us to make progress on behalf of the people of Kenya. So team, I don't have much to say today. All I want to assure you is that in me you have a worker, you have a colleague, you have a friend, and I'm looking forward to just starting the work. So when we get down to the business, we will get to know where the bottlenecks are. We will try to remove them for you. We will try to negotiate for resources. I understand that one of our biggest challenges is resources. We will use our networks and make sure we have the right resources, the right capacity to do what we have to do. The reforms that we have started must move forward. We must digitize all our records. I understand it's been a bit slow. We will try to push it a bit faster. Titles, we must give Kenyans the right to own their land. People should not sit on land that they do not own. We will make sure and facilitate. And I know PS and his team have been working to fast-track that process. So I want you to be under no illusion that we have only one job. And that job is to serve the people of Kenya. And I will work with all of us, including members of the media, to make sure that we reach Kenyan people who are ordinarily not reached by our services. That would be my commitment. And with that,
yes,
outgoing prop.
Apigwe makofi ya kilo. Thank you, yes, for those wonderful remarks, very encouraging. I'm sure these wonderful men and women feel very strong, feel very really encouraged. With that, but move to the next stage. Can you?
Yes. Thank you very much, Cabinet Secretary, for going CS. I believe we are done with the formalities of handing over, and before we come to the floor, perhaps you should stand and exchange the instruments of office. You don't have the sword of office, but symbolically you can hand over.
Lazima weke kidole na mimi niweke kidole. Ama niache. You sign up, alafu ni sign, then we can exchange. Yeah.
Let me just sign it first.
You sign there, I'll sign here. And this 19th
February.
Yes.
Outgoing Lands Cabinet Secretary Professor Jacob Karoney handing over the necessary documents to newly appointed Cabinet Secretary for Lands and Public Planning, Farida Karoney. After a series of speeches and this small ceremony, she now can take over the ministry offices and begin to do the work that she promised the nation she would do when she was vetted recently. And of course, the whole team of 9 cabinet secretaries were sworn in on Friday at State House before President Uhuru Kenyatta. Briefly, just to talk a little bit about what she has touched on, she's spoken about completing the process of digitizing records, which she says she hopes will deal with the cartels that she says she's been told quite a bit about. She also has applauded the staff of the ministry, saying it's a competent team. She believes that they will deliver. She says that she hopes to provide an enabling environment that work can be done for Kenyans. She will work with the Land Commission, with all the bodies that deal with matters land. She will not reinvent the wheel, but simply move the agenda of the government when it comes to matters land moving forward. And she hopes that land can be used beyond sentimental value, but to create jobs.